What if I told you the people who truly control the world's money don't actually own any of it? They don't mine gold, they don't print cash, and they don't run your local bank. Yet, every time a loan is issued, a currency devalues, or a country goes into debt, they profit. This isn't a story about billionaires or politicians. It's about an invisible empire, a system so old, so powerful, that it transcends borders, governments, and even wars. And the strangest part, most of us use its product every single day, without even realizing it. Welcome to the hidden empire that controls money without owning a single dollar. To understand this empire, we need to travel back to the 1600s, to a small building in Amsterdam, where the first modern central bank quietly began rewriting the rules of wealth. Merchants and monarchs alike were tired of hauling gold across oceans. It was heavy, risky, and slow, so bankers invented something revolutionary: a paper promise, a note that claimed to represent gold, but was much easier to trade. It started innocently enough, convenience. But over time, those promises detached from gold and became something else entirely. A belief system. The empire didn't need to own money anymore. It only needed to control belief. The collective trust that makes a piece of paper valuable. The birth of central banking was the first turning point. In 1694, the Bank of England was created, not by the crown, but by private financiers who loaned money to the king. In return, they received the right to issue notes backed by government debt. Think about that. Money now came into existence through debt. From that moment, every pound, dollar, and franc that entered circulation carried a hidden cost: interest. The empire had discovered something extraordinary. Owning money wasn't necessary. Creating it was far more powerful. And as long as people needed loans, for wars, for business, for survival, the empire would grow. Over the next 2 centuries, this system evolved like a living organism. Private banking families, the Rothschilds, Warburgs, Rockefellers, mastered the art of influence. They funded kings, financed revolutions, and built railroads, always on both sides of every conflict. By the 20th century, money creation had become fully institutionalized. In 1913, the United States passed the Federal Reserve Act, giving a privately controlled central bank the power to issue the nation as currency. And just like that, the world's most powerful economy handed over its financial sovereignty to a group of unelected bankers. They didn't own the dollars. They simply decided when and how many should exist. This was the rise of the hidden empire, a network of central banks working in coordination, shaping markets and governments through debt-based money. The system spread first to Europe, then across the world. Every major nation adopted a similar model, each with a central authority that could print, lend, and inflate at will. And the world adapted, not realizing the invisible tax this created. Because when money is created as debt, inflation becomes inevitable. Every printed dollar steals a fraction of value from the ones already in your pocket. By the mid-20th century, the illusion began to crack. After World War II, the global monetary system was restructured under the Bretton Woods Agreement, pegging all currencies to the US dollar and the dollar to gold. It seemed stable until 1971. That's when President Richard Nixon quietly announced that the US would no longer redeem dollars for gold. The gold standard was dead. From that day forward, money had no physical anchor, only trust. And the empire had achieved its final form: a fiat system, where value could be created or destroyed by policy, not production. Governments could borrow endlessly. Central banks could print infinitely, and every cycle of boom and bust became another opportunity for control. When economies crashed in 1987, 2008, 2020, the same pattern emerged. The empire printed more money, lowered interest rates, and expanded debt. Each rescue only made the system more dependent on their power. Today, global debt exceeds $315 trillion. That's more than 3 times the world's total GDP. Every second, governments, corporations, and citizens sink deeper into obligations they can never repay. And yet, the empire thrives, because debt is the product. Every loan issued is profit. Every crisis is opportunity. The average citizen works for wages denominated in borrowed money, taxed by governments who themselves are in debt to the same system. It's a financial feedback loop designed to ensure that real assets flow upward while liabilities flow downward. And whenever the system starts to wobble, The empire has a solution ready. Quantitative easing, stimulus packages, bailouts, all of them sound helpful. None of them solve the core problem, because the empire's strength lies in perpetual motion, debt creation, inflation, and dependency. If the world ever stopped borrowing, the system would collapse overnight. Over the years, reformers have tried to break the cycle, from the gold standard advocates to cryptocurrency revolutionaries. Each movement aimed to reclaim value from central authority. But each time the empire adapted, gold became manipulated through paper contracts. Crypto became speculative, absorbed by the same financial institutions it tried to replace. And digital currencies, once a symbol of freedom, are now being redesigned as central bank digital currencies, programmable and trackable. The empire is not just surviving, it's evolving. Soon, money may not just represent debt, it may represent behavioral control. Imagine a world where your access to money depends on your social compliance, spending patterns, or political alignment. That's not science fiction anymore. That's policy already being tested in several countries. Today's financial headlines may look different, but the core mechanism hasn't changed. Banks still lend money they don't actually have. Governments still spend more than they earn, and inflation still silently transfers wealth from workers to creditors. A 2024 IMF report revealed that over 70% of nations are in unsustainable debt positions. Meanwhile, global billionaires saw their wealth increase by over $3.5 trillion in just 2 years. Coincidence or design? Whenever the middle class loses buying power, asset holders gain it. Whenever a currency weakens, the empire tightens its grip. History doesn't repeat, it compounds. So what do we learn from all this? First, money is no longer a store of value, it's a tool of control. The more dependent you are on debt-based money, the easier you are to manipulate. Second, inflation isn't an accident, it's policy. It rewards borrowers, governments, and banks and punishes savers you. Third, the real wealth isn't in currency, it's in ownership, land, skills, and resources that can't be printed. The hidden empire may not own a single dollar, but it owns the system that defines what a dollar is worth. And as long as that system stands, every paycheck, loan, and tax payment is part of its machinery. But the story isn't over, because every empire, no matter how invisible, eventually faces a reckoning. When trust collapses, and people begin to ask the forbidden question, what is money really worth? If you found this story eye-opening, share it. Because the first step to breaking illusion is seeing it. Subscribe for more deep dives into money, power, and the truths they never teach in school. This is Money Unveiled, and you've just looked inside the empire that controls money, without owning a single dollar.